Alright guys, welcome to a new video. As you can see, we're going to be talking about 5 of the potential 3.11 Harvest League starters that I have tested out in the last 2 weeks. See which ones are going to be the most effective, which ones are going to be cheap, which ones are going to be easy to build, which ones don't really have much gear requirement, how fast is it to get to the maps, and how's the damage on it. So the first one we're going to talk about here is the Iceshot Deadeye. It was actually really good. Still going through the axe on this one, and the damage is pretty nice. It has a really easy start. You get your skill like right off the bat, so you can start using it right away. Has pretty good damage from level, level 4, I think is when you get to use it. There's no real gear requirements for this. It's pretty just whatever you can find. A lot of the tree that he uses actually helps out with that damage. You kind of want to go along that bottom side and then move up to phase acro and acrobatics. The damage is pretty good for a league start that doesn't have any requirements. If you do happen to get like a tabula, your damage of course is going to be amazing. The boss damage is actually pretty good once you get point blank. And the speeding is actually, it's about average, just because if you're starting out and you only have a 3 link and a 4 link, it's going to be a little bit harder to get some of those bosses down, but it might be above average, just because of the AoE damage that is associated with it. Let's go to the next one. It's going to be the Ball Lightning Miner by Path of Math. This build is amazing. If they don't change anything with miners or with ball lightning, I highly recommend going with this one. One, you don't need any gear at all to get it going. If you can get a blasting rod, that's great, but you don't need it. The damage is through the roof. The leveling speed is crazy fast because you have your detonate on your movement skill. So as you're moving, as soon as you cast that mine out, it explodes and the ball lightning just travels. The damage is really high, really fast. Bosses instantly phasing them. Don't have any problem with them, and cheap. That is probably my highest recommendation on that one. The next one is a Bleed Below Gladiator. I had kind of fun doing this one. It does have a fast clear, but it has very low boss damage, as it is a damage over time and it is bleed. For a league start, it's going to be a little bit rough for bosses, but it's doable with the movement speed that you have and the ability to move around. It's fine, and you just cast your bleed and run around. There's not really any gear requirements. Everything can be farmed, solo found. It's similar to the Iceshot. The leveling damage, it's fine. But once you start getting to those rares and unique bosses, that's when it starts getting a little bit, it takes a little bit longer. So because you're not killing those instantly, it's going to be a little bit harder to get through those levels. Which makes it, average for leveling speed. It's a good map clear. So if you want to go and you want to run through all of the maps and be able to destroy everything on the maps and not really have to worry too much about the bosses, this is definitely the build that you want to go with. This is the Gamer Report's Golem Elementalist Summoner. This build is great. It has a really fast clear, high bossing damage. It's just like a summoner. I mean, you're summoning golems, and in the beginning you're going to be doing skeletons as well as minions and your golems. And there is 0 gear requirement on this. I mean, you can have the base of base and still be able to just dominate through everything. Everything is based off of the tree and the skill gems, so you don't need anything. So this one is going to be really cheap and easy to get through any of the content. The best part about minions is you don't have to, cast a spell or anything. The minions just go and attack anything that's near you. You just run around in circles and the minions kill everything for you. Can't ask for anything better, right? It's like an auto casting. You don't have to do it. The minions do all the damage for you, and the damage is very high. However, the start is a little bit slow. Your minions are pretty weak, your skeletons are really weak. Until you can get that 4-link on there and get some of those passives in the passive tree, it's gonna be pretty weak. So expect the first half of the axe to be a little bit slower, but after that, as soon as you get your golems and your zombies and your skeletons up, your damage is just going to go way fast, and you're just going to be running through the axe. You're not going to have to do anything. You won't have to circle around. You just kind of run straight through. So the leveling damage is above normal once you get past that first part, but at the beginning it's a little bit slower, a little bit lower. So once you build up those skill gems and get them up higher and get some of that skill tree in there where you have the life leech and for the minions and a little bit more life on them, that leveling is going to be much faster. And the last one, I had fun with this one. I'm not much of a melee character, but I wanted to try it out just because of how high the damage was promised in the video. I liked it. Okay, so when you are playing a melee character, you have to expect to have slower leveling. That's just how it's gonna be. Anytime you have a melee skill, it's gonna be slower. Just because you can't cast and run, cast and run, cast and run, you kind of have to be there where the monsters are, cast it, move, cast, move, cast, move, up, move, cast. You have to do a lot more casting. It's not much of like just go and move on. So it's a lot slower leveling, but once you get up there, the damage explodes. So that's what's great about this build is it explodes. And the monsters explode for you. Once you get to the end game and you're running Reave and Blade Fury, your bosses are going to drop instantly. Your maps are just going to destroy. The gear requirements is kind of in the middle. It's really dependent on your physical damage. So if you can't get physical damage on your items, which during Harvest League might not be a problem because of the new way that you can modify inside the garden to add physical damage modifiers. If we can do that, this build might be a lot better on the lower leveling scale. With the way it is right now, without any league mechanics, it's a little slow to level just because it's a melee. If you enjoy melee, you will enjoy this skill. This build is great. If you're more of a caster, I don't know if I would recommend this one to you, just because of the way the playstyle is completely different than most other builds. With that being said, once you get to endgame, you will destroy everything. So that's kind of what I've been going through the last couple of weeks. These are the builds that I have played, and this is what I really enjoyed testing out for the last 2 weeks, coming up to the harvest. It comes out on the 19th, next Friday. It is currently almost 1 week away from right now, and if you want to, I would recommend picking one of these for the next couple of days, leveling through it to Act 10 to see how well you like it, just to see if you want to do that for League Start. I highly recommend doing that for any character you want to play for the next league. Find one that's not going to be modified too much by the patch, so find something that's relatively safe and then try it out. These builds that I put on here are going to be relatively safe from nerfs. If anything, they might get some buffs just because of, they're not exactly the meta at the moment or the meta the past league. So the chances are that these aren't probably going to change. The tree might change a little bit. We know it always does every league, but for the most part, it's not going to really change. If you have any comments on these, if you've played these before, put a comment down below. Say which ones you like the best. If you have a question about some of them, put it down below as well. I will try to answer them for you. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and ding the bell for future videos, and we will keep putting videos up as soon as the announcements are out, all the way up until league start, and then I'll try to post a video every week after that. And until next time, peace.